What is going on, everybody? I hope you're all having a lovely evening. I am going to send an invite to Miss Robbins so she can join us. Boom. There go. I am Alex with True 90's NickSclusive, True 90's Nickelodeon, and we got an exclusive with Robin Russo today. And there she is. Hello.
Oh, there I am. How are you?
Good evening. I'm doing well. How are you?
Good evening. I'm doing good. Finally, right? This only took us forever to do.
Oh, that's okay. Uh, I had the I had this idea of I'd like to do these little interview things, and I reached out to three people, and
Okay.
ironically, you were one of the first ones that I had reached out to. I
Right.
think you were actually the first one to say, "Hey, I'll be happy to," which made me super excited.
Oh, thanks,
Uh,
Alex.
the second person was also named Robin,
Right.
and she was from 15. And the
Uh-huh.
third person was Natanya from Alex Mack, and she played a character named Robin.
Oh my gosh.
So,
How ironic is that, right?
and I did not plan it that way. I just thought it was hilarious as little fortuitous.
Wow.
But
Well, I
for those
love what
who
you
are,
do. It's a great Instagram page. I love seeing all the old shows, the new shows. You're fantastic at what you do.
well, thank you. I appreciate it, and it always warms my heart whenever to see people who I grew up watching being supportive of the fans. So that's awesome. It means a lot to
I'm
me.
old. I'm old, Alex. So I mean, old. All right.
All right, well, we've got some questions,
Okay.
so we'll
I
dive right
would.
into them.
I'd love the
Uh,
questions.
the one we get on almost all of these is how did you get involved with Double Dare in your case?
Well, you know what? I came in right out of college as a production assistant, and I was on the set, and they needed someone to help Mark. And they knew that I was athletic, and they pull. I was answering phones, and they pulled me out, and they said, and I was on my way actually to go to ESPN. That's where I was wanted to do. I
Really?
was going to go to sports broadcasting, but I needed something to fill the time until my interview with ESPN. And they called me in, and I've been with Mark for 35 years. He's
Wow.
fantastic. And you know what? Years later, I got that ESPN interview, and they offered me a job, and I said no because I was just so
Really?
happy. Yeah, I was so happy to be with Mark, and he's so gracious in letting us all. Um, do whatever we want to do. I mean, the time I started was right around you remember when MTV was really big?
Yeah.
So basically we were allowed to do whatever we wanted. You know, if I wanted to produce, I could have produced. If I wanted to direct, I could have directed. So it was just, I mean, I have the most fantastic job. I will never ever take away from and the gratitude I have for the 35 years that I've been with Mark and at Nickelodeon. It's been fun.
And that's something that translated to those of us who are watching the show, because it seemed like you all just got along so great on set. And from the interviews that I've heard from you and especially from Mark, there just seemed to be such a strong camaraderie, and that's
Always. You know what? Whatever you see that's going on the set is exactly how we are off the set. You know, we're all. I mean, we're just fun, and there's tons of us. Remember, we went from Philadelphia at
mhm.
WHYY to New York City, back to Philadelphia, then we went to Orlando, Florida, then back to New York. I mean, so there were different crews. All the crews were different, but every single, you know, everybody was included. Everybody had fun. Everybody was included. We lived at the Four Seasons Hotel in Philadelphia for a year. Some of
Wow.
those people were invited to my wedding. I mean, like literally everybody came in as a family. It was pure fun. And, you know, I attribute that to Mark because, you know, some hosts you go into a show, and I've done other shows before, and they
Mhm.
just, it's the talent one side and nobody knew, nobody else on the other side. And
Yeah,
Mark incorporated everybody from the nurse to the production assistants. I mean, that's how I got my job. He saw something and he said, I like this girl and I'm going to take her under my wing. And
I
that was
love
that.
it. I
Yeah.
love it. So speaking of the camaraderie between you and the others, were there any favorite memories of the three of you, by three being Harvey, where you would give each other some pranks or tease each other? Anything in particular that comes to mind of a time that you've ribbed each other?
Well, one time on the obstacle course, now remember, Mark wasn't thrilled about getting messy all the time. I mean, he loved doing the show, but he wasn't thrilled, and he was such a good sport. But I can remember just from doing an obstacle course one time and looking at Mark and thinking, okay, this is my perfect opportunity. And each obstacle, I got him more and more messy. I mean, I literally was putting whipped cream in his hair, pudding in his face, and he handled it like a champ. I almost lost my job that day, but he handled it like a champ. But we that's all we do is laugh. I mean, you have to remember, we were put on the road too. This road show that we started back in the day was 100 people at a mall, and then it turned into 75,000 people in an arena. I mean, when I tell you there were thousands of people that were packing malls that they had to move us to arenas. I mean, who gets to do that gig? Who do you know that gets to throw pies at people for a living and have a ball doing it? It was just pure fun. It really was.
Now, speaking of the physical challenges, obviously watching you messing with him during the obstacle course,
right.
Did you ever do any of the? Did you ever run the obstacle course? Yeah.
Yes.
Did you ever run the obstacle course?
Oh my gosh, 1,000 times. We actually played the game. I was with Harvey was on my team, and we actually played against 4 other people from the set. Yes, you know what? I probably took 15 showers a day. I was always the one, because I was the lone female who was getting slimed and thrown into baths of whipped cream. One time they put baked beans into a tub, and it was disgusting and it smelled, and they're like, Robin, jump in that. I'm like, okay, I get paid well, I got to do this, but it was disgusting. A funny fact, I really have a hard time smelling whipped cream to this day. It almost makes me gag because I had it in my hair all the time. So, I mean,
wow.
Yeah, I ran every physical challenge, every obstacle. Mm-hmm. It was
all
fun.
Right, somebody had just commented, I got to read it. Robin clobbered me good in Reading, Pennsylvania. It was the best night of my life.
Oh, thank you. And you know something? I love Reading, Pennsylvania. My dad's from Reading, Pennsylvania. So I loved going there. Nicest people around. But you know what? One of the joys of what I do is to see, it's not only the kids that are happy, the parents are happy. Mm-hmm. When we do the road show, I think the parents, because of our ages, they probably like the road show even a little bit more than the kids. But yeah. But you know what? We pied a lot of people. We had a lot of fun. And Reading, Pennsylvania is one of my favorite areas just because I'm familiar with it. And the people couldn't be nicer there, really.
And I'm sure this is probably a question you've got several times, but we obviously didn't know. What in your opinion was the messiest physical challenge or the messiest obstacle?
The slide was probably the messiest obstacle because the crew guys were like artists. So they, when you flipped at the bottom, everything came, it was just crazy, splatting up. Every obstacle was pretty. I have to say, we had one physical challenge where you pulled the, you could play and then you pulled the things and all the green slime came down. Well, the crew guys used to fill it up to the top. So literally when they would go to commercial break, there'd be 20, men and women, guys and girls with squeegees cleaning it. And I remember that being a really, really hard one because, it was just very hard to clean. It was. But everything was messy. We had crew guys that left, doing rock and roll shows to come do Double Dare, and they never left us. And they were some of the most artistic. I mean, the stuff they came up with. It wasn't always, Mark, Harvey, and I. It was a lot of the crew guys. Yeah. And they're still successful today because of their, creativity.
You have made mention, and I always wondered that you were the only female who was there in a group of males. What was that like for you? Was there ever a moment that you were can you guys just give me some space?
No, here's a really good story. I'm glad you asked it because Mark and I became like a brother and sister from day one. The banter was just there. It just was lightning in a bottle, They used to call us the Regis and Kathy Lee of children's television. I mean, it worked. Harvey couldn't be more gracious, one of the kindest guys ever. And it's funny because when I got called to go into my interview for ESPN, I walked into a boys club and I was very uncomfortable with some of the things people were saying. And I remember getting on the plane and calling Mark and saying, no, I'm where I'm supposed to be. Like, they could not have been more respectful, nice. Anyone down from Dana Calderwood to the guy who ran the props, Byron Taylor, it was a family. And I never once felt that they treated me inappropriate. And by the way, I'm an ex-athlete, so I can take it. So the banter did get a little shaky sometimes, but if you ask Mark and Harvey, they'll tell you that I held my own. I held my own the whole time.
I love it. I love it, because you hear awful stories about things that happen behind the scenes on various shows, especially things from our childhood. So to hear this is
well,
beautiful.
Although I did have some crazy stalkers in my time.
Yeah.
And that did kind of freak me out, but it was never anybody on the set. It was always just, they were just great. I couldn't have asked for better people to work with and for.
So I'm assuming, because it's Double Dare, that you were slimed at one point.
Are you kidding? Yeah, I can't. Yeah. I mean, when I see the green slime when I go into like Toys R Us or something, and it's like, oh God. I remember the smell of that. Yuck. Yeah.
Okay. Because slime has changed.
Right.
What's the difference? I mean, I know it's not really asking for, what's the specifics, but how different is the slime that you buy at a store compared to what the slime was that was actually on set of Double Dare?
Well, I don't really know the answer to that. I do know that the slime that we used on the set, it had to be edible because it was around people's mouths. You were throwing stuff in there, so it was a lot of pudding and whipped cream and I don't really know what's in the set. It looks thicker when I see it. Like when I see people, like when you buy the slime in the store, people aren't shoving that in their face and putting it in your mouth. So it's different. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, we used a lot of whipped cream and pudding and it was just, yeah.
So for Double Dare, what was a typical day like for you?
Makeup, go in. Well, you go in and you grab something to eat and you go to makeup and hair. And then we did 5 shows a day. So you would do a show and they bring the audience in and, you do these shows and you had a warm-up guy. It was just like any other show you'd see. And then, they bring in the audience and then you'd go. And if I got slimed or Mark got slimed, we'd have to go take a shower because it always had to be a new show. So even though you were doing 5 a day, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You had to pretend it was a new day. And then at night we blocked for the next day. So we'd go over physical challenges. And I mean, there was a long table full of producers and directors and, those physical challenges had to be tested and tested and tested. And how much time do you give them? I mean, it sounds, when you're watching the show, it sounds like, oh, this is so easy to do. It's not easy to do. Mm-hmm. It's not. I mean, the reason it looked easy is because Mark was such a good host and he kept it rolling and going and included everybody. But yeah, so then we'd probably get back to the hotel 11 p.m. and then you'd turn around and you would do it again. So, I mean, 5 shows is a lot. And you had, getting the audiences in and out was kind of, that was kind of hard. And then when you were in Orlando, we became like a circus act because they would have the tiers up. They'd have all the people standing up on top and you had to get those in. And it was crazy. Crazy fun, but it was crazy.
And I think, I'm going to scroll down here, scroll through the comments, because I think somebody had made mention. I remember going to Nick's Studios when I was a kid, and it reminded me like applesauce. I'm assuming the slime, because that's where that comment came through.
Absolutely. You know what? Great. That's a great thing, because we did have applesauce sometimes in the slime. Again, everything had to be something that edible, and people had to sign. They had to sign a waiver because you didn't know if anybody was, allergic or. But you have to remember when we started the show, 1986. It was very different. Now you got to sign everything away, and can you get your picture taken? Back then, it was a darn free for all, and everybody was having a good time, and it wasn't as intense as you see shows today. So
now, the game shows like Guts and Legends of the Hidden Temple, they had certain segments, and then they would film all of their episodes for that one segment, and then they go to the next segment. Was Double Dare the same way, or where they would do everything before the obstacle course and then just reset, or did they go through the whole episode, reset, and then do another whole episode?
No, we did the whole show. So you did the question answers, obstacle course, get those people out, start again. Physical, start with your toss up. You remember we had toss ups, and then we had physical challenges, and then do the obstacle course. No, we had to do full shows because it's such a game showy thing. It had to be in sequence because you didn't know who was going to win. You know what I'm saying? So we really went in sequence for that. Yeah.
Jasmine, I see you in the comments. You didn't miss much. We hadn't been here long.
Hi, Jasmine. How are you, Jasmine?
I'll put this up on the IGTV afterward. So if anybody who's missed some, you can catch up. Give me just a moment, because somebody had also said, I think they said they had some questions. Oh, it's not wanting to scroll for me. There we go. A few questions you're not for. Okay, so they were just recapping what we had said. I did have one because we were just talking about it a moment ago. Oh, somebody was asking about the physical challenges. Were there just a certain set of certain ones, or did they have new ones every episode?
Oh, no, they had new ones every episode. I mean, every once in a while, like remember the swivel stick where they had to, get the ball rolling? But they had Byron Taylor was our art guy that did everything. He was incredible. I mean, you could say to him, hey, let's do this, and he would go in the back and create this thing and bring it out, and we were all like, well, where did you get that from? But no, there were new physical challenges, and that was most of the time that we would sit at the table at the end of work. We'd have to go over the physical challenges because some of them didn't work. They looked good on paper, but when you tried them, they would either happen in 4 seconds or we didn't have 2 minutes. Most of these physical challenges were 25 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds. So, so most of our time was on the physical challenges.
I have heard a rumor, because by the time Nick Studios came out, it was near the end of Double Dare's newer seasons. But they had Game Shows Lab where they would test some of the physical challenges on those kids. Do you know if that's true?
Yes.
Was that?
Yes, that is. You're talking about Game Lab, right?
Yes.
They just took what happened with Game Lab, if I'm not mistaken, is so many people in Orlando wanted to be on the show, and there's only a certain amount of time. And when I tell you that they used to line up a day before they could get in. You remember they had to get the universal tickets to get in, but they would wait to get to the Double Dare set. The Double Dare set was the draw at that point. And that's why they did the Game Lab. They did the Game Lab so more people would have a chance to see what it was like to get slimed or to experience a little bit of the game. And, Game Lab was very successful. I never did the Game Lab. I'd walk by it, but there was no time. I mean, literally, when I tell you that we worked 12 hours a day and that you barely got to eat because you had to go, it was just crazy.
I remember going to Game Lab when I was a kid, and I don't remember the physical game. The only thing I remembered was that they had a video game, and they were doing Sonic 2, and I think they were testing that for Nick Arcade. But I don't remember them doing the physical challenge testing at that point. But again,
they did a lot in Orlando because you remember we were in Universal Studios in Orlando, and everything was new and fun, and the opening of Nickelodeon at they had everybody from Steven Spielberg to Michael J. Fox. One of the fun things for me was all the celebrities that came in. Everybody has kids, so everybody wanted to play Double Dare. We had Michael Jackson in there at one point. Gloria Estefan was walking. It was just. There were people all the time coming in, musicians, actors, actresses. It was fun, and they all wanted to play Double Dare. They all wanted to meet Mark and play Double Dare. I know it sounds so silly, but it's true. It's the truth.
it's an opportunity to just shed being an adult and just be a kid and get messy and run around and have fun. It's messy, but it's still good, clean fun at the same time.
Oh,
It's something.
we always said it was a huge birthday party. That's
It
what
is.
it was.
It really is.
It was a huge birthday party. I used to sit back and watch the audiences clear out. And really, everybody had a smile on their face.
Mhm.
Every single person, even if you didn't get to play, they had a smile on their face, and they were so excited to be there. And the lights and the physical challenges and the mess and the slime and who the heck doesn't want to do that? I mean, I have to say, after 35 years, smelling gack makes me a little, but but it was a huge birthday party, and everybody loved being there.
Matt had a question. Did anyone ever get hurt on the set of Double Dare?
Yes, we had an instant where a kid came in, and when the kids had to play, before it became Family Double Dare, it was just Double Dare, and we used to go to schools and bring people in, right? And very early on, a kid had to sign a waiver, and he was going through an obstacle and broke his arm. And when I tell you his arm was in an S, I mean his arm is in an S. Mark totally freaked out. He ran, but we had a nurse on the set. We always had to have a nurse on the set. So that's one of the injuries I remember. And I remember doing a state fair where it was 110 degrees out, and someone was doing the wheelbarrow, and she burnt her hands because it was so hot out. But we always had a nurse and a doctor on the set. Everybody had to sign a waiver. Everybody knew what they were getting into. And most of all, it was pretty safe. The kid who broke his arm never told us that he had like a degenerative disease. So there was nothing we could do. But yeah.
And for that one, because I knew that one, because I think Mark and you had also did some interviews for the book Slimed, and Mark also was in the Orange Years, and I think he actually mentioned another injury that had taken place. So if you followers have not seen the Orange Years yet, check it out because it's really, really good. Got a couple more questions. We'll scroll back down here. What was everyone's favorite obstacle, and what was probably the most popular obstacle?
Well, I think the most popular obstacle was the nose, picket. Believe it or not, people love the nose. Yep. We just came off of doing a 2-year roadshow, the Double Dare Live roadshow, and every single person that came through there asked if they could go on stage and put their finger up the nose. I don't get it, but that seems to be the most popular one. I'd probably say the Sunday slide, which I loved. That we had a thing on the live tour where you had to climb up this rope to get a flag. I love that one because it was hard. So if you got it, you really got it. I think picket, the nose. And it's funny because there's a guy who I'm Facebook friends with. His name is CJ. He actually bought the nose. You know who I'm talking about?
I do know who you're talking about.
I mean, he made it into a bar in his house. I'm like, dude, really?
Yes.
We got. I mean, yeah. So.
For the comment section, by the way, has gone nuts with, oh my gosh, it's Robin. I love you. You're my favorite, and a lot.
Thank you.
A lot of love.
You know what? I love doing these. I did another one of these yesterday. It's so fun. It's so, you know what? It's hard when you do 5 shows a day to meet people who have loved your show, and that was the beauty of the road show, because we did a meet and greet before, and you got to meet people. That's where I met Jasmine and CJ, and of course Jesse Cute from Philadelphia, who is the best. He comes to all the shows, but it's so nice to meet people. And one of the things people always say is how approachable Mark is, and he is. I mean, if you go there and you ask him, can you give me 5 minutes? He gives you 10 minutes. Yeah. And not many people do that. So I absolutely love doing this and meeting everybody. And hopefully the road show will go out again. And if it does, come see it. Get your tickets, because that's where Mark and I get to calm down and meet everybody.
Another question that came in the comments is, were there ever any fights that broke out either on set or in the audience?
What a great question. On set or in the audience? No. I only remember pure laughter. I mean, no, I don't remember I can't remember one fight. No. Great question, though. I mean, that's the first time I've ever had that question in 35 years. So great question.
Nice.
No, absolutely. I can't remember a fight. I do have one funny story for you, though. You guys will love this. We were at the Palace of Auburn Hills, and I ran up. I always did all the running into the audience to pick people, right? And some lady was waving her hand, waving her hand, waving her hand. And I finally picked her family to come on stage, and only 3 of them came up. And I said to the mother, I need you to come up too. And she was hesitant. She was hiding behind her husband. I said, no, I need you to come up too. I can't just do 3, or I'm going to have to pick another mother. And she said, I can't go up. I'm wanted by the police. And I was like, thank you. Sit down. All right, let's go. Let's get another mother up. Right. But what are you going to say to that? You know, she said, I'm wanted by the police. I didn't even ask for what. I was like, lady, she's like, I thought you just picked my kids. I'm like, oh, God. Yeah.
God.
True story.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. So I know 35 years worth of memories. It's impossible to pick one. But what was one of your favorite things about working on Double Dare?
I think my favorite memories when I don't know if your generation or know this, but do you remember Mad Magazine?
Yes, very much.
Mad Magazine was, it was iconic. Everybody got to go to Mad, and they did a thing with Mark Harvey and I in Double Dare in Mad Magazine. That was cool. I have to say that was really cool. My other memories are, literally, you live the life of a rock star. You go to arenas, they treat you like gold. You do these shows in front of, we were doing shows in thousands, still doing shows in front of people in thousands. And I guess my favorite memories are just the pure happiness it brings. I really walk off stage always, and I say to Mark, wow, the people they still like us. They still like the show. They still want to see the show. And, and again, the beauty of Mark and Harvey is how much they relate to adults and kids.
Yeah.
And me too. It's not just the kids that are enjoying themselves. What show do you know that parents can watch with their kids? Not many.
Yeah.
Right. I have 2 kids. I have a 20-year-old daughter and a 21-year-old son. And when they first saw what I did for a living, my son said, don't show my friends that, please. Don't show any of my friends that. And my daughter thought it was pretty cool, but it's not their generation. They love it now because they see what it brings them and what it brings me. But when I first showed my son, he was like, oh, heck to the no, Mom. Please don't show any of my football friends that tape. It's funny. It's just not their generation.
Okay, for those of you in the comments, there are some question topics we haven't got to yet. I haven't ignored your questions. We'll get to those in a bit. Double Dare Live. I had never had the opportunity to go. I didn't even know Double Dare had a live show until it had stopped. Because I just got back into it as an adult, and I missed all this stuff. And I live in nowhere, Kentucky, so obviously it never came anywhere close. What was the difference between doing the studio and Double Dare Live?
Not much, honestly. The only difference is on the Double Dare Live, we run to the audience to pick people up to do the physical challenges. So, the TV show, you have you have people they're picked and they're playing against each other. We probably bring about 60 people up on stage for the Double Dare Live show. And it's very interactive. It's very fun. We pick kids and we do adults. And but we actually do play the game, and they run the obstacle course for prizes and thousands of dollars. And we were surprised when they asked us to go back out on the road how successful the road show was going to be, and it was pure success. And I think it's going to go back out again. But everything that you see on TV, you can see it in the road show. It's just 2 hours. It's instead of 30 minutes seeing it on TV, it's 2 hours of complete interactive fun. It's really.
Did have another question. Said, what was your favorite venue to do the road show, and what was your least favorite?
Great question. I remember going to a beautiful theater in Detroit, Michigan, that I loved. I, of course, love the Prudential Center because it's 30 minutes from me here in New Jersey. And I loved doing the Los Angeles, I loved going to Los Angeles and doing. What was my least favorite? You know, I didn't have a least favorite because everybody, you know, it doesn't matter what part of the country you go to. I mean, we were going from California to Maine, Maine to, you know, Iowa, Iowa to Kentucky, Kentucky to Connecticut. I mean, it didn't matter. Everybody, they couldn't be more gracious and couldn't be more happy to have us there. I mean, there were a couple towns that I got sad going to because I had been there earlier in my career, and the towns were very to see that. But I have to say, you know, and of course I will always love Philadelphia because that's where we started.
Yeah.
You know, I love going to Philadelphia because they love us there. And I mean, those tickets sold out within minutes when we got to Philadelphia.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I apologize if I mispronounce any of this because I'm horrible with names.
Nah,
but
don't worry.
I am Noor. I hope I pronounced that correctly. She had asked, I wonder if you remember my daughter Skylar when we beat the obstacle course in Akron, Ohio. She still gets excited when she still gets super excited talking about it.
You know, I think I do remember because is she on? Can we talk?
Yeah, she's still there.
I think I have a picture of us together, if I'm not mistaken. I don't always remember everybody because we've done 700 of this, but if I'm not mistaken, I have a picture from Akron, Ohio that came up on Facebook recently. So believe it or not, if that's you, I remember. I do remember.
Let's see. All right, so we've got some what would you do questions.
Let's do it.
How different was filming Double Dare from What Would You Do?
Very different. You know, it was the same crew, so it was easy to do that, you know, and they were the ones that came up with the pie pod for What Would You Do. But the thing that was the same was Mark being the host and being brilliant at what he did. The thing that was different is that everybody kind of wanted to come in and see more mess, and they didn't realize it was a different show, you know? Yeah. So it was, I kept saying to everybody, you're coming to the audience to see What Would You Do, not Double Dare. Yeah. But that's the difference, I remember. And that show was pretty successful too. People don't bring up What Would You Do much, but that was a very successful show. And I think people were that was during the Double Dare hype, you know, when What Would You Do came out. But another fun show to do, but it doesn't hold a candle to Double Dare, in my opinion. Double Dare still is the reigning, you know, one that everybody wanted to come see.
What Would You Do? I loved What Would You Do? Nickelodeon.
It was a great show.
Nickelodeon was on all the time when I was a kid, and a lot of times a lot of the stuff was just background music while I played with toys. But anytime What Would You Do was on, I had to watch it. That and Double Dare both, but I loved What Would You Do. Mark, and I believe I've heard you say this as well previously, but looked at What Would You Do less favorably over Double Dare. Why the difference?
Well, you have to remember, Double Dare, it was just lightning in a bottle. I mean, you know, there was never a show like Double Dare. It was a show for kids. It was a show, and Mark put that show on the map. And because Mark was so successful, they brought What Would You Do in. But I don't think that I think that they were trying to get another Double Dare, but they already had Double Dare, you know? Yeah. So it wasn't going to happen. Even though Mark loved doing What Would You Do and I love doing What Would You Do, it's still, I mean, even when people went in there, they're like, okay, this is great, but can we go look at the Double Dare set? You know? Yeah. And I'm like, no, we're on the What Would You Do set. The Double Dare set's, that's gone now. We, you know, we have 6 months of this, and then we go back to the Double Dare set. But I think that was the, you know, Double Dare put Mark on the map. So that's always going to be his favorite. So I don't think he disliked What Would You Do. I just think that his memories are around Double Dare putting him on the. Remember when Mark came in, Mark was a comedian and a magician and doing warm up for shows. So when he came in to do Double Dare, it was make or break, and he made it. I mean, he made that show. He was young. He was like 33 or 34 when he came in, and I was 21. When I came, I was right out of college, my first job. So I just think that Double Dare was his baby, and you know, that was his love. But you'd have to ask him. He might have a different, you know,
Yeah,
different
yeah,
take on that.
yeah. I understand that obviously you can't for Mark, but I thought I would ask you what you thought of the difference between
Yeah.
the two. But still,
It was just a different show. It
sure.
was less messy.
Uh, so the role you had on Double Dare,
Hmm.
well, not just Double Dare, both Double Dare and What Would You Do, is often, I mean, it's Mark. It's all Mark. He sells the show. Watching the camaraderie between the three of you was something that just made Double Dare work so well, and Harvey was greatly missed on What Would You Do.
Right.
But the two of you were often background characters. Was there ever a point that you felt underappreciated?
Oh God, no, 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 not even a nanosecond. I mean, you have to understand. I mean, I always wanted to be on the talent end of things, like I said, in sports.
Mhm.
Um, no, I can't even tell you how lucky I was to latch on to Mark and Harvey. I mean, they, I mean, you know, I added too because I could keep up with them, you
Yeah,
know? So that's not easy either. I mean, Mark is like, blah, 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 you know, you have to stay with him. But even on the road show, people will say it's watching Mark is like butter. It's so smooth what he does, but they don't understand. We've been together for 35 years that it's
yeah,
smooth because I can finish his sentences and stuff. But I have
yeah.
never felt underappreciated, maybe by Nickelodeon a little bit, but not by Mark and Harvey. I think Nickelodeon thought that I could be replaced until they sent somebody else out on the road for me for a little bit. And then they said, we'd like to have Robin back. Yeah, that's a true story. I'm like, oh, you do, huh? You thought it was really easy what I did, huh? But I think the beauty of it is that how well Mark and I and Harvey and I and Mark Harvey and I, we did a thing together yesterday. There's on I think it's the 29th
I
on
was just asking to talk about that.
The Double Dare Live Facebook page.
Mhm.
We're doing the 35th anniversary. And so we had to do something yesterday. And I always say, don't script Mark Harvey and I, let us go. Because that's what they did yesterday. And we had so much fun taping this and taping the segments. And so I feel very appreciated. And I have a lot of gratitude towards Mark letting me just be myself and do what I needed to do.
Let me see. I only had a couple more left. And if any of you any viewers got questions, please chuck them in there because we're coming to an end on my part. In some of the previous interviews that I've seen Mark talk about, he had been to some of the fan Double Dares, like in a pub or somewhere. Have you ever gone to any of the fan unofficial Double Dare things?
Yes, many of them, and they're hysterical. We used to do these weird things in Philadelphia all the time, and I used to turn to Mark and I'm like, we're never going to work again if we keep coming. I mean, you know, there was drunk Double Dare in Philadelphia. We were in a restaurant with a bunch of drunk people playing Double Dare. I don't even know what the heck happened there. All I know is like, we're never going to work again if we come back and do this, but we had more fun. Some of my favorite memories are going on the Stephen Preston show in Philadelphia. We have more fun with them, and they're raunchy, but they are fun. Yeah, you know what? We go to all that stuff. I've never done Comic-Con or all that Mark does, and but we do a lot of sightings and, you know, meet and greets, and everybody is so funny and so and all different walks of life. It's amazing. You can get somebody come in who's a college student and somebody who comes in, a businessman who's bringing their son that's never seen the show before, but this guy wanted to come to the show. So we have, it's literally all walks of life.
And there was only on the, I can't get my words out. There was only one other question that I had, and it was only one particular special. So I don't know, 35 years, I don't know how much it stuck with you, but Nick fans probably don't remember the Nick All-Star Challenge.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody was at that one. There was the Mark and Phil Moore. I'm pretty sure Michael O'Malley was there too. I mean, it
Mike
was.
O'Malley, Phil Moore. Oh, they were all there. I was one of the referees for that.
Yes, you were. Yes, you were.
Yeah.
I was just going to ask, what was that like?
Oh,
'Cause
God. You know, that's where, though, that, the first time I did it was the first time Mark said to me, I can give you more airtime because you can handle it. Because as a referee, I mean, when Mark and I did our banter, it was very little at the beginning. And then once we started doing, that stuff, and I got more of a role in that. Yeah, and I had so much fun with Mike O'Malley and Phil Moore. They are hysterical. I'm trying to figure out, there was a couple other people there. I don't remember if, was her name Mo from Guts? She may have been in there too.
Yeah, more
A
record.
couple other, was the guy from the Hidden Legends of the Hidden Temple may have been there too, right?
He may have been. I don't remember, but it
Yes, it
wouldn't
was
surprise
fun.
me.
It was fun, and it was well produced, and it was the people loved it. And who doesn't like competition, right? I mean, throw competition in there. And it was literally like Guts, what we were doing. They were climbing ropes and running, doing all types of crap, but it was fun. And I have fond memories of doing. I think I did it 2 or 3 times, if I'm not mistaken. You're going way back, Alex. I'm old now. You're going way back to my childhood.
All right, that is all that I have. Robin, thank you so very much for taking the time for this.
Fun. Thank you. I really appreciate all you do. And again, on the 29th, the Double Dare Live, go to the Double Dare Live Facebook page. You'll get to see a lot of the old Double Dare people. And Mark will be hosting. It'll be a lot of fun. And
if you go to Mark Summers' Instagram, Real Mark Summers, he had just shared just a half hour before this interview where he was talking about it. So, yes, go hit that up on the 29th.
That sounds great.
Thank you so much, Robin. It's been a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you, Alex. Nice to meet everybody. See you later.
Bye, guys.